Good morning, class. Settle down, settle down. I've been informed by the faculty that there's been some sexual misconduct going on at the DT Academy. No doubt some of the boys were checking into the nurse's office. Anyway, as a result today, we'll be watching a video on sexual education, since most of your minds are in the gutter. Fair warning though, there will be language and content that's not suitable for the younger audience, so viewer discretion is advised. There will be spoilers for this type of behavior as well as any other media you might watch of this nature, so be very careful what you see. But most importantly, the views and opinions expressed in this video are those that have participated, those alone and no one else's. That having been said, I hope you learned something out of this, like consent is sexy. Look, but don't touch. And for external use only is not a euphemism. Seriously, where did all those aloe vera bottles come from? Well, hello everybody and welcome to Dub Talk, where we cover the latest and greatest in anime. Sometimes, we tend to go out of the box a little bit. But, I'm your host, Jamal. And with me tonight is Gigi.
What up, friends?
And we've got a good show for you tonight. Well, when I say good show, I mean a good episode. Show yourself so you can kind of question.
Good is always subjective.
Yes, and since this is pretty much back to school month, we decided to cover high school comedy of sorts. A sex comedy, if you will. Yes, we'll cover the dub of My Girlfriend Sure Is a Bitch. Just kidding, I don't have a girlfriend.
It's like, is that what the title is supposed to mean?
That's close enough. Yes, we'll cover the 2019 Sentai dub of My Girlfriend is Shobitch.
So what does Shobitch mean?
Exactly what you think it means.
Oh.
Yeah, when I googled the title, as there were a few various terms thrown around. Of course, the main one being bitch, but slut was also thrown in for good measure.
Gosh, these poor girls can't cut a break. Talking about baseball for one episode. All of a sudden, you a show bitch.
It's kind of interesting, this show, because here's the thing about this. This was one of the early shows that actually got out of Amazon jail. Like, one of the first shows, if you could believe it.
Wow, I didn't even know it was there, to be honest with you.
Exactly, which is why it was so much of a surprise. But as time goes on, we'll get more and more shows coming out of Amazon jail. I know people are upset about Killing Bites. We're getting Dora Road now. Let's see what else we're getting.
Magical Girl Site just got
freed.
Oh,
good God.
I liked that show.
I've heard things about that. I don't know.
It's really, dark, and it's very weird. It is not for pretty much anyone. But I like dark magical girl shows, but they didn't dub it. So what else got out of there? After the Rain?
After the Rain.
Hitori Jime My Hero got out of there.
Yeah, that's got out of there.
There's so many, but we know so many that are still stuck in there. Banana Fish. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a little cough. I don't have COVID, I swear.
I can hear certain bright eyes screaming for water, Corey.
That is also one that's still stuck there. But at least this one got out. I can see why, though, because it's really, up Sentai's alley as of late, at least, where they tend to license and sometimes dub a lot of... how would you even describe this other than... I mean, it is very ecchi.
I think the way to describe it is either we got the HK without as much of the charm, or the American Pie spinoffs.
Okay, Jamal. So let me just tell you that B Gotta HK is one of my favorite anime of all time because it's fucking hysterical.
Yes.
This show had none of the charm of B Gotta HK.
Yeah, I think one A&N review says, a Shobitch for somebody, but a show ain't for this bitch.
Hey, it's not wrong, but let's please introduce the show some more. Let our lovely audience know exactly what they're in for the next 90 minutes or so.
Yeah, so basically what the show is about. When high school student Haruka Shinosaki confesses his feelings to the beautiful and aloof class representative Akiho Kosaka, the last thing he expected was for her to say yes. Like everything else in her diligent life, Kosaka takes dating quite seriously. In an effort to be a good girlfriend, Kosaka decides to meticulously study and bluntly suggest all manner of ways to keep Shinosaki sexually satisfied. In a theoretical sense, that is. This innocently lewd relationship is only just beginning.
This show. Okay, I'll warn all of y'all in advance. This is not my type of show. Like, I'm down for a good, like, ecchi comedy if it's, like, super funny. But normally, like, I have standards, y'all. I may have no standards for shoujo trash, but for these, I have standards. And, I wanted to be on this episode because the dubcast is like pretty freaking stellar. And I watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, oh, this is pretty funny. Then I finished the show.
What's weird about this is, out of the blue, you actually kind of approached me about this because...
Yeah.
Here's the thing, for the longest while, especially nowadays, when Sentai... streams their shows on high dive, like what's coming out on Blu-ray, they have a tendency to do one episode of a week, which is very frustrating to me, but at the same time, it also gives me opportunity. It also gave me an opportunity to live tweet this, and let me tell you, I had a whole lot of fun for those 10 weeks. Even though I bought the Blu-ray.
I also bought the Blu-ray. It's just sitting in my storage unit. So I have not seen the fabled OVA, but I heard it's an uncensored romp.
Oh, yeah. So, but, you know, enough talk. We want to get right into it.
That's what Akiho said.
Oh. Ooh.
Where's Hardy with the spray gun? I just hear him in my ear right now, getting ready. He's like powering up to spray the entire podcast down.
The man did pretty well with me. He's the last person who should have a spray gun. But yeah, let's get started as we always do with our ADR director and scriptwriter. Of course, it's been a Sentai dub, you know, big project like this. You gotta have the man himself, Kyle Kobe Jones, pulling double duty. Are both directing and script writing, but he's also has an assistant on script writing in Bata Becto. Kyle Kobe Jones has doubled down on other shows such as Amnesia, Food Wars, Himoto Maru-chan, Log Horizon, the first 2 seasons, and My Love Story. Bata Becto is also written for After the Rain, Devil's Line, Food Wars, Golden Time, and my teen romantic comedy Snafu.
So Kyle, can I call you Kyle? My normal name for you is KCJ. Maybe we'll just go with that today. My dude. So this cast is really fun, and was really excited to hear a couple of these actors in the lead roles for maybe not the first time, but like one of the first times, and we'll get to them towards the end of this show, because I was like, those are my people. Like, they finally got something like lead going on for them. It's amazing. But my dude, how did you go about directing this? I really want to know. Like, Are you guys having a lot of fun? Are you kind of mocking this show? Are you kind of disgusted? Or are people just showing up to get a paycheck? Like, usually when I listen to these dubs, I can kind of feel it out from like people tweeting about it, or like the tones and voices that I hear, or the script writing, or just something. And I'm very confused when it comes to this show, because I'm usually one to say, oh, so and so had such passion for this, like you can totally tell it in their style, or what's her name, like was having so much fun doing this. And especially, I don't know if it's the show itself or just the writing. There's only so many ways you can tell a dick joke, and I think we definitely got through all of them in this show about 35 times in a 10 episode show. And usually with the stuff that Marta writes, it feels very like straight laced to me, like sticking close to the translation. So maybe that's what we're working with here. But at the same time, in a show that's based around two things, like how horny can you be, or how funny is that joke, like, I don't know, like I think after episode about like 4, all of the jokes started like repeating and started falling flat for me. And I can't blame all of that on the actual story of the show. Like, I want to bring up a point, and I believe it was Monica Rial at a panel who said she wrote out like 100 different ways to say the word boob and like 100 different ways to say the word butts, and used them when she was writing one of her scripts that she had to do. And I kind of feel that I wish this were the case here, so the same jokes didn't keep getting used over and over and over again. But I don't know, Monica, do you have that magical list that we can give to people who are writing ecchi shows? Because, oh my gosh, the same jokes just went constantly, but there's got to be other ways to say dick jokes, right?
Ooh, yeah. Anyway, I do have to kind of agree. Yeah, with the show itself, it could be kind of flat and certain places off model at times. Because I know, because this is a Diomedian studio block presentation. I don't know what studio block is done, but I know Diomedia has done a lot of fan service.
Both sides of it too. Like they've done a lot of fan service for women also.
And I know Diomedia in particular did Chio School Road, which, as hilarious as that show is, at least it can stand on its own without sexual jokes. But Carl definitely has been able to credence with both the casting and the writing, because I know he took some unusual key players and brought them in here, a few of which we'll get to shortly. And he definitely had fun himself in this show, because at a few points you can hear him say, "I will show you my ultra technique!" To the point, he's literally credited in one episode as Mr. Ultra Technique, and I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Okay, see, I missed that one. So, okay, then I'm glad that you caught that he was having a really good time, because I couldn't tell, so.
Yeah, but I think the thing about it is, the script could be a little more organic. They went as far as they could, but for me it's also a double-edged sword, because at some points you have to have some jokes kind of explained to you, like the 0721 or the side dish, which
right,
brings a whole new meaning to the term "fuck my sides," but. Yeah, they did the very best of what they could, especially when the show itself, to me, kind of feels like a pastiche of tropes at times. And there's also certain references in there that, if they made them explicitly, they probably would have been taken down for copyright. I mean, for fuck's sake, in one episode there's a Cube in there.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like hidden things in there that they probably couldn't even get into. It's just kind of a shame because like there's so many puns, and I feel like I literally heard every single one of them. Like I just was like, how many more of these am I going to hear? Like it's literally it's the same fucking joke. If I saw one more banana, because I don't know if you know this, Jamal, but my least favorite anime of all time is Girls Bravo. I think it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And in episode 2, there's a banana. And after I saw that banana on screen, I literally turned the anime off and like unplugged my television. Like that's how fucking offended and like disgusted I was. And they fucking brought the banana out so many times here. And I was just like, you gotta be joking. But then it gets worse because fucking our main dude is like squeezing a juice box full of milk onto somebody's face. And I was like, how many times is this gonna happen? Like, how many explosion jokes? Like, it just, that's the fault of the show though, but I think they probably did all that they could to make the dialogue fresh throughout each episode, but it was just, I don't know. And I'm not sure if some of the puns had to have the literal meaning like translated. Some of them just didn't work if you didn't look at the explanation subtitles that were going across the screen.
That's why I said I wish it was a little more organic. Maybe because I'm used to Funimation jumps, but I just wish it was a little more organic. Like, try to find some way to incorporate that without having to explain it to me. Basically, explain it to me without having to explain it to me.
Right, like, this is all according to Keikaku. Keikaku means plan. That's the meme. Like, don't do that. Like, just fucking say it. Say something dumb. Like, put a Milk Chan joke in there. We'd all be happy about it.
I've yet to see that show.
I've watched like one episode of it.
Okay, so I think we've said what we could say about the direction script writing. Everybody did a good job. It's kind of, the formula's kind of still tired, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like, to be fair, a lot of the other shows that I enjoy like this have some kind of plot element to them. Like, my favorite one is High School DxD. Like, that shit to me is hysterical.
Yeah.
But this just was like, hey, we're going to school and being horny. And I was like, cool. I'll be over there. Like, it's just like, this is weird.
But, you know, there's one thing this show has going for it that it doesn't do like other shows.
And what is that?
It's not a harem anime.
Is it not? Because it felt like one.
Here's the thing. He has a girlfriend, and all the others that come out to just plain jokes, if you think about it. But he said on one woman just she wishes she could be a little less dirty-minded, you know?
I mean, like, they're playing it from his point of view that it's not a harem, but all the other ladies seem to be, like, jumping up on him. It felt harem-y to me. Like, I knew he would never stray from his girlfriend, but at the same time, I was like, yeah, I've seen this before, too. But you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, this was made in, 2017? Like, you have to push the envelope somehow.
Yeah. Speaking of pushing the envelope, you good to move on?
Let's go. Let's push it. Push it further.
I'm pushing it, push. I'm pushing it, push. I'm pushing it, push. Gotta push it to the limit. Speaking of which, there's certain limits where and the older you get, and these parents kind of learned it the hard way. We're gonna be talking about Akiho's parents, Fuyumi and Natsuo Kosaka. Now, from their point of view, Natsuo is the straight-laced father who's getting too old for this shit. But he does the best way he can with his wife and his child. Fuyumi is very endearing, very affectionate, maybe a little too affectionate. At one point in the episode, you discover, lady, that's not how you rear a child. For
No,
God's sakes.
that's
No.
not so great. Not so great parenting there.
Yeah, showing your child a dojin that has Papa in the title is not a good way to go about life.
Daddy! Please go on.
So speaking of Daddy, he's played by Alan Briggs. And the mommy is played by Rachel Messer. Alan Briggs, you've heard as Soe Nakiri in Food Wars, the third and fourth plate. Eita Seimi in Haikyuu Season 3, and Jiro Simon Saburo in Mr. Tonegawa. Rachel Messer, you've heard as Sister Fabel in the Akashic Records of a Bastard Magical Instructor. Enterprise at Azure Lane, and Chisei in Princess Principal. So I will say, with these parents, I'm gonna be honest. When I first watched this, I thought Alan was kind of the weakest one out of the entire cast because
Really?
when he starts playing things straight laced, he kind of sounds a bit monotonous. And it's like I know he's just he's delivering the punchlines and everything, which is pretty snappy. The delivery is good, the acting is good. It was just the voice itself, but on rewatch, it actually kind of improved though.
See, I thought all of his dialogue sounded very practiced. Like, you know when you're running lines for a play and you're like practicing in the mirror, trying to get them right, and you keep trying them like different ways so you can like look at your face and like hear the different tones and pitches that you want to use. Like, I really felt like it sounded very practiced, and I know this is not going to sound right, but it almost sounded like he was trying to put a little too much like Shakespearean acting influence into it. Like when I heard the dad, I could tell that he was an actor. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I almost felt like it was a little bit overacting, but the tone of his voice felt like a normal dad. Like it just it hit me kind of the wrong way, but I didn't think it was terrible. Let me tell you, there are worse actors in this show that we're not talking about, but it didn't seem like terrible to me. Like, I want to give him credit for being Shakespeare dad.
Yeah. I think to me what it is that, he kind of has to put up with all the innuendos his wife does, which I can understand. Like, you're tired, you can be a bit grumpy, like you kind of have this grunt to you. It's like, oh Jesus Christ, like, that's what it sounded like. Just a little lower his voice that he kind of has to react to his wife's innuendo jokes. Yeah, jokes. But I think he did very well playing off for Rachel, which, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really expect it to be Rachel. I thought, because I know at one point I tweeted out, I hope Akiho's actress doubles up, because I'd love to hear her adult voice.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the two characters, you notice they look similar, even to the point that Haruka kind of confused her for her sister. Like, he thought it was, actually, no, he thought that she was Akiho, so.
Right. Like, oh, I kind of wish that actress would have played her own character's mom, too, because there's another scene that flashes back, and the same actors who do the regularly aged characters are playing the younger versions of themselves.
Yeah.
I thought Rachel didn't sound like a mom. I know that sounds kind of weird, especially with the characterization of Akiho's mom, because Akiho's mom, like, wants to be a MILF. Like, she's, like, literally, like, Stifler's mom in American Pie. And so that's what I was thinking, like, the whole time. I was like, where is the sexiness here? And it came across more in the dialogue and the visuals that we were seeing on the screen than the voice acting. Like, I kind of wanted more like desperate housewives in there than I got. But the tones between Rachel and Akiho's actress were very similar. So I liked that, and it was believable that they could be mother and daughter. I just like I wanted a little more. I mean, with how the mother is portrayed here, like I was expecting it to go kind of balls to the wall, like all out, and it just kind of it wasn't that for me. Not to say that it was a bad performance, because it wasn't. I think I was just expecting a little more given the tone of this show.
Yeah. I can understand. I mean, other than the mother's interests, if you will, I don't really think there was as much to the character, unless like she could be carried at times. Because I still remember, I think it was it the end of episode 4 when they all leave the zoo and the couples get together, and Fuyumi says that your father was tired and he wanted to head somewhere to go relax. And both the father and Haruka look over and they realize they're outside of a love hotel. It's like, oh crap. so I really kind of like that banter between the two. So I thought they did a pretty good job, even if there wasn't as much to it as like the other characters,
Right.
So I think, that having been said, we could probably get to the students themselves, because good lord, does this school need a sex ed class.
Oh my god. They need something. They need, like... You ever seen the movie Mean Girls?
It's been years, but yeah.
Remember that gym coach who was like, you're gonna get chlamydia, and then you die? Take some rubbers. And I was like, yeah, they need one of those.
Good lord, Hardy brought that up in the Peter Grill episode 2, I think.
Good movie.
2004 was a hell of a year.
Woof. All right, well, who are the characters we're going to get to talk about this time? Spoiler, my favorite ones in this group. I'm sure everyone who's seen this show knows who my favorite character is.
Yeah, don't say. Yeah, so we'll be talking about... this is the only trio we'll be talking about for the night. Everybody else is paired up. We're talking about a trio of high schoolers. Saori Igarashi, or... Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. Igarashi, or whatever. Sayo Shizumori, and Seiya Hoshikawa. Saori and Sayo are class reps of their respective years. I think Sayo's year 4, Saori's year 2. They both have kind of a conflicts of interest, if you think about it. Saori's kind of straight-laced, wanted to shut down any lewdness that goes on in the school, while having the accidental hidden desires of her own, if you think about it. Sayo Shizumori is a closeted pervert, but, she likes to look but not touch. And, I say look but not touch, but there's one scene, I think in the last episode, she wakes up from a dream, asks Saori to hand her a tissue. Saori thinks she has a cold or something. And she says no, when she has that kind of dream, I get wet down there. And I was like, ooh. Speaking again, we have Seiya Hoshikawa. Yes, Beefcake who comes into this, I want to say he's a transfer student, but no, I don't think he was a transfer student. He's a new student at the school. Kind of accidentally chops Akiho and makes Haruka jealous. Come to find out, he's just seeking advice on I don't know, I guess relationship matters or something like that. You come to find out he is gay.
Mm-hmm.
If the show doesn't imply so, he physically shows you so. Oh, yeah.
What a good boy.
I'm trying to remember that one line that this actor said as soon as he flexes his abs. I can't hold back my lusciousness. It needs to come out or something like that. I'm gonna find that line while you have the discussion. But
Yeah.
play these three. Sari is played by Jocelyn Johnson. Sayo is played by Juliet Simmons. And Seiya is played by Damon Mills. Jocelyn Johnson, you've heard as Kiriko Yoshitoku, Katagawa Check Girls. Vika no Dorio and Peter Grill the Philosopher's Time. And Mina Mina and How Clumsy You Are, Miss Ueno. Juliet Simmons, you've heard as Mayumi Kurase in Food Wars, Chiyo Sakura and Monthly Girls Tosaki-kun, and Kurumi Ebisusawa in School Lift. Damon Mills is no stranger to this podcast. You've heard him as Kai in Beastars. I almost bit my tongue there.
Oh no!
Shunso Hishida in Meiji Tokyo Renka, and how did I fuck that up? And Yugo in Nabaka. So, why don't you go ahead?
Well, we all know that Seiya is my favorite character, right, fam? You saw that shit coming from a mile away, didn't you?
Saint Seiya.
Mm-hmm. Praise be. Let me get on my knees. He won't like it, but it'll still be fun for me. It's all good, fam. So, Damon Mills is really good here. I know I should be at this point where I keep saying that Damon Mills is a voice acting wizard. And I know I should know this voice from him, but literally I watched the whole episode where Seiya was introduced and I was like, who is that actor? And at first I thought it was Bryson Bogus. And I was like, no, it doesn't sound quite right. And then I watched the credits and I was like, you're fucking shitting me. Damon, pulling it out again.
No pun intended.
There was.
I had that same moment back then too. And for you Patreon listeners out there,
I feel I can't hold my lusciousness back like this any longer. Oh, hey.
It's true though. It's true. He's so good. Like, thank you for the flamboyancy in the food, my friend. Like, Damon Mills is like the best in this anime. Like, it was so funny. And I was just like, this was at the point where I was getting really tired of the show. And I was like, if I hear one more boob joke, I am literally gonna like bounce mine out of here. And I was like, I can't handle it anymore. So when this character came in, I was like, oh, is this just gonna be like another like rival for Haruka? And then I was like, oh, I was not expecting it to go there. And I'm like super happy that it did. And Damon is just friggin' perfect. Like, he got the humor here and like did it 1,000%. So I was like, chef's kiss, my dude. Like, that was amazing.
You say chef's kiss, I'm still thinking about those cooking scenes he did. To which, one of those was a little Salt Bay reference.
Yes, Chris told me that because I was like, what is that? He like bursted out laughing and I was like, why are you laughing so hard? He's like, that's the meme, babe. And I was like, what meme? So I had to get schooled on the memes there.
And it's also one moment where Haruka has a knife in his hand and is twitching. He's like, oh, Shinozaki, your tip is twitching. And I was like, good God. And they showed an eggplant literally being peeled back in the next frame.
Oh my God. Like, I think, and this is how I felt, like, at this point in the show that everybody was so burnt out on, like, all the jokes you could make about female anatomy. And it was really nice to have a guy come in and kind of like refresh the whole thing. And I was like, okay, now these jokes are funny, which will lead up to the last 3 episodes of the show, which will make the boob jokes funny again, hopefully. So I don't know.
I feel like I can't hold my frustration back any longer.
Where is that the line? No, there's a line
No,
later.
it was lusciousness.
Yes, there's a line later that the only line that I wrote down that I will quote, but I was just like, yeah. So Damon was amazing. Juliet, I like everything she's ever done. I cannot tell you one bad performance that Juliet has in any anime. Like, she is just, I feel the acting coming from her, especially, and I'm sorry to say this, but especially when paired against Sayori, who did not have the greatest performance, in my opinion. I'm not the worst, but like, it wouldn't be up there like in my top of the show. But if you paired Juliet with Jocelyn, like, Juliet just like fucking steals every scene she's in. Her acting for Sayo was just like on point, and she definitely, this is not an insult, she definitely gave me that like creeper vibe. Like, yeah, I can almost hear you like giggling and making tiny noises in the corner watching people, because Sayo likes to watch. She likes to watch, fam, which is funny because you can't see her eyes because they're covered with bangs. I thought that was a funny character design choice. Like, funny as in good, not funny as in weird. Really liked her. And then Jocelyn, like, I think she's pretty good at playing the straight man, but a lot of her dialogue was really awkward and old-fashioned sounding, which is not her fault. Like, that's the way her dialogue was written. But because of it, it made her performance sound stilted sometimes. And I think if she had better written dialogue that didn't sound so scripted, we might have been able to see like a little bit more acting chops out of her. And I don't know, like, somebody tell me, like, if you think this too, like, I kind of heard her sounding a little bit like June Foray. And again, that's not bad. Like, that's really good. And I was just like, how do I know? I've never heard her in anything. So I was like, why does this voice sound so familiar to me? And I was like, holy shit, it's Rocky the Flying Squirrel. You laugh. But
someone right now knows probably this is just shitting bricks. He's like
getting ready to like put poison in the Food Wars food that he's making for me later. But I was like, oh my God, like, that's so cool. Just like, there's a little lilt in her voice that made me think of it. And I really hope that June Foray is the person who did Rocky the Flying Squirrel, or I'm going to feel stupid. It could be Barbara Goodson, but I think I'm right. I'm going to Google it. Am I wrong? Am I right?
I'm just wondering where Barbara Goodson came into this.
I'm trying to think of who played Rocky from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
I'll tell you right now.
I will too, because I'm Googling it. I should have thought this through. It is June Foray. I was right. So, yeah, no, I just like, if you pair her with Juliet, who's like the complete opposite, like, it doesn't complement the characters. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted them to complement each other a little bit more. And it got to the point where I felt like one was kind of stilted and the other one was like really good. So like, Juliet totally outshone her.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming. So, yeah, for me, I can kind of agree with what you're saying about Jocelyn, because the thing about it is, and I said this in the Peter Grill episode, where, in Peter Grill, she kind of uses like a high kind of tone, whereas here she sounds kind of brash, but I think you're right, it might be the dialogue, because I can hear her character from Peter Grill a little bit here, but to me, it kind of feels like, what would happen if you like swap the two performances, or like give her something better written to work with, because it does feel like she's kind of dragging out like some monologues a little long, like especially the scene where she has her skirt hiked up and you can see her panties.
Oh God, I'm sorry, that scene was so boring to me. And it was so long. Like, I literally watched it again right before we recorded because I wanted to get a better sense of her acting and the performance here. And I was just like, holy shit, this scene drags on forever.
I'm just glad, holy shit, she didn't slap the guy for once. Because with scenes like that, where you try to notify somebody that, hey, your panties are showing, the guy usually ends up getting slapped in the face. But when you realize, he's just trying to do the right thing without being without sounding like a pervert, it's like, yeah, you kind of in the wrong there a little bit. And, he was only trying to help.
Right.
And you kind of feel embarrassed, but now you can't renege on what you said, so.
The life of a high schooler who has to wear a uniform skirt. You always got to check that before you leave any room.
Yeah, and Juliet Simmons. It's funny because at one point it sounded like two other voices we'll get to in the next section, but I thought she did very well with this character. It was very kind of unique. But yeah, she did pretty well with what the character was given. I know that Sayo is a pervert, but she likes to look but don't touch, which I think that's kind of the whole thing with fan service sometimes. But if you do touch, you cross the line a little bit there, though.
A little bit, but if somebody falls, the guy is gonna fall on top of the girl, or the girl's gonna fall on top of the guy, and his hands will go immediately for the boobage.
True.
So much touching. But
at least we won't get much of that here with David Mills. Dave Mills here in the building.
I don't know. Seiya does a lot of touching. I mean, he teaches Haruka how to hold a bat. They do that thing towards the end where he's rubbing up against his butt.
I think that's probably my favorite episode out of his is the whole baseball season.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
Because for one, Hakata Tokotu Robbins looks different than I remember. And for two, at one point, Haruka fouls so hard that Seiya takes a baseball to his baseballs. Which, I winced in pain the first time I saw that.
I think Chris did too.
Oh, good thing he hasn't seen the OVA then.
Oh no.
But David is always impressive at whatever he does. It's just, I would say this though, I was a little bit concerned with the casting because even though yes, it's David Mills and he has a very great voice. I mean, I don't think I want to leave this on recording. I'm just gonna come right out and say I was a little worried that maybe he was cast because he was gay, the character was gay.
But that's good though. It's representational casting.
Yes, I know, but also he's playing a stereotypical version of a gay character, which we all know that's not what being gay is like. So,
right, but I think this came to the point where you can definitely tell that it's an over-exaggeration of the character. We're not making fun of anybody, and they weren't making fun of anybody. It's just totally done to, comedic effect.
Yeah, if this were a more serious show, it'd be problematic, but this is Shobitch. It doesn't take itself seriously.
Oh my god.
So, we're good, and, I will say I can't wait for the Hitri Dream My Hero episode.
I really want to get that done. Keep forgetting that we haven't done it yet because we've been trying to do it for so long. Did you like that pun that I did right there? Did you get that? Did you get that, fam? So long. All right. Let's move on. See, I can tell dick jokes too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And apparently, and speaking of dick jokes, Wait. I can't transition with that. No.
Oh, he just peeked real hard on my microphone.
Oh, man. So, yeah, we good to move on?
Yeah, let's keep that train chugging along.
Yes, so we have a pair of, I forget, the younger high schoolers, it gotta be first years. Anyway, we have a little sister and her best friend. We have, Kata Shirazaki and Misaki Akawa. Kata is, of course, Haruka's little sister. Kinda has a thing for her brother, but it doesn't get played any more than that. Like, it doesn't really go the distance or anything. Well, it's very aloof and likes to have fun with her friends. By that I mean pulling their leg constantly. Seriously, you can't just call it biology, you have to call it, what was it, insemination?
Yeah, insemination.
Oh, man. And she also likes to tease her best friend, Misaki, whose nickname is Sakicho, which, thanks to the translation, I learned it means just the tip. What makes this more amusing is that she has a pair of Cherry's hair clips.
I thought I was the only one who noticed that. She's our cherry girl. Oh,
I'm a cherry girl in a cherry world. Lots of plastic. Dildo's fantastic.
Again, makes me think of B Gotta HK.
Anyway, before we get copyrighted, Misaki is essentially the straight-laced of the main cast, save for Haruka. She just tried to come up in this world and everybody's making dirty jokes about her, so when she attempts to make dirty jokes herself, it doesn't bode well for her, because I know there was the mating thing in the zoo. There was let's just say chocolate treats at the convenience store.
Oof. Oh, that was her?
That was her.
Oh my god, this whole time I thought it was that other girl.
And then there's of course the innuendo at the ice cream parlor, which I learned Kachi Kochi Daddy translates to stiff frozen daddy. Oh man. The things you pick up on Google. I really feel bad for this girl. You know, she just doing the very best. You're doing great, sweetie.
You're doing your best, girl.
But playing these two characters played by Brittany Lauder, and Misaki is played by Margaret McDonald. Brittany Lauder, you've heard as Opal in World War Blue, Toa Hanamaki in D4DJ First Mixed, Satoko Hojo and Higurashi When They Cry Go, and Sotsu, and Nene Fujinoki, My First Girlfriend is a Gal. Margaret McDonald, you've also heard as Rika Takanashi in Love, Chunibyo and Other Delusions, Harumi Taniguchi in Citrus, Saika Tatsuka in My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu, and Tsubaki Ando in Shirobako.
Well, our resident cat girl. Jesus. So, like, I love Brittany so much. I think she's fantastic at everything that she does. But I'm going to be real with you. Like, I have not watched a ton of shows that she's voice acted in just because they're not my type of shows. So I was really excited to hear her here because I think the first thing that I ever heard her in was as Audrey in Honey Pop. And I was like, this is going to be in like the same vein. No, it's not. It's
not even close.
Not even close. But I could tell that she was having a shit ton of fun with this. Like, she was just like going off. Like, I was dying on the inside. Like, I felt like her performance in this was was so hammy in a good way because like she gets it. Like she understands what this show is about. And she's like, if I'm going to do this, like I'm not holding back. Like put my cat hood up. I want to meow in your face and get it done. And I was like, that's right. I was like, I don't like this character because it creeps me out. I mean, I've only seen half of Oremo, but I know what happens in Oremo. And I was like, I'm at Oni-chan. Like, I kept waiting for it. I was waiting for the Oni-chan, and it never came. And I was like, oh my God, like this, like takes a trope and her performance kind of flips it. Because Kanata is a character who will refer to herself in the third person all the time. And I was like, oh man, I normally hate these kind of characters. Like if I'm watching this in subs, I'm like, oh geez, when are you going to get off the screen? But because Brittany was so good and owned that shit, I was like, okay, this is pretty funny. And for Margaret McDonald, I mean, I honestly like, she sounded pretty normal here, very conversational. And I really like that a lot when I'm watching my anime. I love it when people sound just very normal, not like affected unless they're like playing into a stereotype or a trope or something. And I did like feel a little bit of disconnect between all her inner monologues and then when she was actually talking to people. But I mean, other than that, I was like, this is pretty good. So I was down with both these characters. I was like, great job, my people. Great job. You know what you're doing. So it was, and like the humor like was enhanced because they knew what they were doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So for me, with Brittany, yeah, she knows how to have fun with her characters. I can't really think of a bad performance she's done where she hasn't had fun with her characters. You know, she can get a very good grasp on the subject very easily. I mean, for God's sakes, she pretty much started out in Media Blasters, which this is more or less her area of expertise if you think about it.
Yeah, and it was really good. Like, I kind of wish that she could have, I don't know if she did this, and I'm not going to say anything or not, but like for some other characters, I kind of wish that she could have like helped to like coach them a little bit. Because I think like with a little bit of her influence, the goddess herself, as we all know her, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it would have helped some of the people who had more stilted dialogue, like for it to just be more in the moment and be more in the tone of this type of show. Because she gets it.
Yeah, but at the same time, you can only do so much. And it's funny you brought up Audrey because, trust me, if we ever talk Gal one day, you are going to hear the wildest performance out of her yet.
I have been trying to do a Gal episode since it was on. And it just, again, like Hitori Jimmy, my hero, keeps getting pushed to the side. I don't even remember who is going to be on that episode with me. That's how long ago it was.
It was you, me, and Noah, but trust me, we will get to that one day. Don't worry. So yeah, like I said, Brittany has a good grasp on this kind of material, even though, yeah, she's evolved since then. This is a little bit of her expertise here. So she knows how to handle the dialogue very well, how to handle material very well. And even for a title formula such as this, you know, she finds some ways to keep it less repetitive. Margaret McDonald, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little surprised at first when I started watching this because I had forgotten which character Brittany Lauder voiced and I thought this was her.
Oh.
To the point I almost gave her a W once for Black Magic because it never registered in my mind that I've mainly heard like her big girl voice, like Harvey, like Rika, I mean, for God's sakes, we met her in person at A-Fest a couple years back. Which, by the way, I do not know what's up with Texas and potato chips, man, because that bag was so goddamn sealed. It took so much force to open it. But I digress. Sorry. Yeah, that was a random tangent there, but yeah, that kind of happened right in front of. Anyway, but yeah, and the fact that she has to use a little girl voice, which is not kind of high pitched like this, to the point I couldn't even recognize her. Like until it started toning down a bit. Margaret has very good range and also a very good grasp of the material. Even though I don't think it'd be Margaret's cup of tea, Margaret knows how to get the job done. So.
Good job. Although I will say this, I forgot this character so much. I thought that she just appeared for the first time in the very last episode when we saw her working at the ice cream parlor.
Oh no.
Like I literally thought the thing with the chocolate condoms was Shizuku.
No, that was bamboo shoots, and she was standing in and out of condoms for some reason. That was kind of inverse, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, but at that point, like, again, all the jokes started sounding the same, so I was just kind of like, whatever.
It's funny, speaking of she's cool. Well, first off, are you good to move on?
Yep, let's move on to our best fake sister ever.
Yeah. Our friends, who are kind of big sisters if you think about it. Basically, we all have that one friend. And by that I mean Shizuku Aoyama and Mina Saijo. We all have that one friend who can be caring but is a bit perverted. Or we all have that one friend who doesn't know what they're doing, but teach them a little bit, they act a little awkward. I think in both cases that might be Andrew, but we love you, buddy.
Oh, Andrew, another podcast, another time you're canceled. Andrew's over party.
Don't worry, Andrew, you're not canceled for me. I just felt like taking pot shots at you. I mean, we're contractually obligated at this point, you know?
Somebody asked in the comments once why Andrew was always canceled. And I did explain that it was a joke in the comments, but very quickly, for those who don't read the YouTube comments, the reason that Andrew started to be canceled was he got my most wanted villager ever on Animal Crossing in an island visit or whatever, and he didn't take her home. And I was like, Andrew, you could have taken her. And if you didn't want her, you could have traded her to me. And we would have been happy times. But no, that's not what happened. So guess what, buddy? You're canceled. And so that's how long ago that was, because Animal Crossing isn't even popular now. And I haven't even played it in like almost a year. So that's why Andrew's always canceled. But it's really just a bit now. I talk to him all the time. I think I talked to him like last week. So...
yeah. So basically, we have Shizuku, who's Haruka's childhood friend. Let's be honest. I think she has a thing for her. She's just playing coy at this point, making all new jokes she wants to.
Well, yeah, she totally has a thing for him. Come on, it's very obvious.
It's very, but at the same time, this actress kind of downplays it just a touch. Which I will get into more with the actress once I get to her, but yeah, kind of definitely has a thing for how at one point somehow handcuffs herself, just gets affection, is sexually frustrated. Oh boy, where do I go with this character? Because this character is a handful.
2 handfuls.
No, she wishes she had two headphones.
Touche.
Speaking of two headphones, we have Rita Saijo, who transferred from an all-girls academy to this high school, which I don't even remember the name of, but what does it matter?
It doesn't.
Very, very sheltered, doesn't really know how to interact with boys, loves walking around with hairy males, likes to take... what was the joke again?
She
Not
likes
selfies.
to roll around on the ground with hairy males.
I got that. I'm trying to remember the one with the selfies.
Oh, I don't remember.
I think it was facial selfies or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that would be it.
Yeah, she's basically a walking talking joke for sexual innuendo. And somehow has her own handful of bodyguards.
She's very popular with the ladies.
Chastity to the nth degree. And at one point, I think there was a time where she and Shizuku went to the restroom. Shizuku just got this new alarm from her dad. And she kind of sounds the alarm, implying that Saijo touched her.
Uh-oh.
Sounds like an Amber Alert if you think about it. Speaking of Amber Alerts, Rita is played by Amber Lee Carter.
That was good!
And Shizuku is played by Christina Kelly. Amber Lee Carter, you've also heard as Akari Hyuga in Bloom Into You, Chihiro Sakai in Cheer Boys, Mayahara in Citrus, Mei in Jujutsu Kaisen, and Sakurako in Stranger by the Shore. Christina Kelly, you've heard as Mina in Akami Ga Kill, Alice Nakari in Food Wars, Coco Kaga in Golden Time, Run Elsie Julia to Love or the Andrew Run the Jewels. And she was just recently announced as Atina Satome in Mother of the Goddesses Dormitory.
So, I think it was funny that you got Brittany Lauda and... Sorry, is it Brittany... Lauda, right? I'll just cut that out. I think it's...
No, it's Lauda. It's
not Lauda?
No, it can read off easily as Lauda, but she said it's pronounced Lauda.
Okay. Well, I find it funny that you got Brittany and Margaret confused because I got Christina and Amber confused to the point where I heard I had been seeing Christina's name in the credits and I was like, oh, she's totally Rena. And then I was like reading the credits and I was like, what is this girl's name who has the dog? Like, what is her name? Her name is Rena. That's not Christina. Like, what? So yeah, I totally thought that Rena was Christina Kelly and it's not, it's Amber. I've got to tell you, ever since I watched Golden Time, I can't unhear Christina Kelly. Like, and I hear her everywhere. Like, even in roles that aren't her, apparently. It's always Coco Kaga and it's always Christina Kelly. Shizuku sounded a little different. And after I realized that it was her, I could hear like the Coco Kaga lilt in her voice that she has, which is not a bad thing. But I was like, oh, never mind. There she is. But I think there's like a very slightly lower tone than what I'm used to hearing her as. And I think that that's a good thing. Man, she had to do some raunchy voice acting in this. Like, and I almost felt at points that when she had to do the jokes, it kind of felt awkward to me. But when she was doing like the fantasy sequences where she basically had to moan a lot, I was like, girl, what you doing, ASMR? I don't know what's happening, but that's what's happening. Like, I kind of felt embarrassed for some of the stuff that she had to say. And I was like, ooh. Like, she got some of the worst and best puns in this show, I think. And I don't know, like... And Amber, I mean, I love Amber and like everything that she does. Like, she's fantastic voice actress. And while I felt like Christina had a slightly lower pitch than normal, for me, for the stuff that I've heard her in, I felt that Amber had like a little bit higher pitch than normal. But it really worked. I also felt like her voice here had kind of the noble affectation to it, which was really good because Rena is supposed to be like revered by all her people and dogs. And everybody loves her. And I also thought she had really good comedic timing. Like her jokes hit me the hardest here.
Yeah. Well, going off of that, Christina Kelly, I'm gonna admit something. Ever since I can't remember, maybe it was Alice from Food Wars, but ever since then, to me, Christina Kelly is like the epitome of ham. Like you said, I cannot unhear her in every role she's in.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that her voice is so hammy that it really stands out. Like, it's like if you were to hear Ian Sinclair, you know, that kind of thing.
Right. She does stand out a lot. At first, I thought it was just because of that, like, I really watched a lot of Golden Time in a really short period of time. But then it's like, nope, that's Christina Kelly. That's Christina Kelly. That's Christina Kelly.
I just think she has a very unique tone to her voice, a very distinct character to her that you can't help but hear her.
Right.
And yeah, like you said, the fact that she has to put up all those raunchy jokes and stuff, especially when she has to kind of moan a bit, it's like, oh man. But she does very well with what she's given, especially for the very awkward scenes, like the reenactment of that one Monogatari scene. I'm talking about with the toothbrush, if you know what I mean.
I didn't, but now that you said toothbrush, I get it.
Yeah. But every other scene, she did very well. I really like the way that she kind of got a handle on those innuendos and stuff.
There were so many. Like, her character is just like queen of them.
Yeah, although there was one that really made me uncomfortable, but I think that was because it was back to back with Kanata. That was when they were pretending to be magical witch girls. But that was more Kanata's fault because she's just rubbing up and down on a broomstick. I'm like, no, please, no, thank you. I don't want to see that up close down media. No, thank you.
Nope, we good, fam. We're all good.
Give me the nurse. I'll take her. Yo, but that nurse was a slut, though. I think she had to have been sleeping with those high schoolers. Come on. Anyway. Amberly Connors, for the longest, I've always put her into like one or two groups. She's either the girl next door or that one yandere you want to avoid. Of course, here's the girl next door kind of vibe because, you know, very sweet, very soft-spoken, very embarrassed at times. She handles that very well. It's like, you know, like she's coming from a place of personal embarrassment, or like she just had to like forget how everything. I don't know how they direct these people. It's like, it's kind of like when you hear the voice actress play the opposite sex. To me, it sounds like maybe they had to forget about something, to forget about how their sex works, and like just like feel embarrassed how the other. If somebody listening to this out there can explain, give me an idea how that kind of acting works, where you kind of have to portray something that. Okay, let me cut that bit out because I'm just dragging this on right now.
You're fine.
Yeah, Abby does a very good job playing this kind of uncomfortable character, which, like, you know, she's just touchy-feely. Touch it, bring it, babe. Watch it, turn it, even stop formatting. She always want to bust a ride, but she'll want to bust something.
Busta, what it ain't right now, my dude.
Ooh.
Oh, Busta, the dragon.
Anyway, Amber does a very good job with this role. These ladies did very well. And I will say, one of my favorite things is, well, I know you haven't seen it yet, but it's Haruka, Akiho, Kanata, and Shizuku are the Fat Loader Jokes half commentary, because it's half an episode. It's just the voice actors in character, just making the random dialogue as the episode goes on.
Oh, shit. That's funny.
Yeah, and much like you said at a certain point, once they got past the first half of the episode, they didn't want to continue because they said this episode was boring. So it's like, kind of personal self-awareness, especially when they said they could totally be voice actors.
Oh my god.
So if you ever decide to get the Blu-ray out of storage unit one day, you gotta watch the commentary.
Well, I will. Trust me. That thing's coming out of storage as soon as I can afford to go pick up my stuff.
I would say you gotta watch the OVA too, but there was half an episode where these guys failed their health exam.
Oh.
And they played something called the Ball Kings game, where they it's like the Kings game, except they do a series of challenges to whoever has a pair of balls on them.
So they don't murder each other?
No. They end up trying to take their toll on the Haruka, and as a substitute, they end up playing with some. I know in one case, Kata ends up playing with some eggs, to which she accidentally steps on them at one point. I'm like, oh god, I just wince in pain.
No.
If you Google the show, you ever see that shot of Kata just tickling an egg with her toes? Yeah, it's from the OVA. There's a reason it's not on High Dive.
Yikes.
It's not that explicit, but yeah, it will make you a little uncomfortable. Anyway, shall we get comfy, move into our final pair of characters?
Yes, let's end this with a bang.
That's what she said.
You're welcome.
Yes, we have our loving couple, Haruka Shinosaki and Akiko Kosaka. Now, Haruka Shinosaki is just basically average run-of-the-mill student, not really interested about him. Decides to confess his love one day to Akiho, who's the class rep. Gets good grades, is very athletic. So this seems like a mismatch in heaven if you think about it. Now, in order for Akiho to maintain the relationship, she assumes that she has to keep Haruka sexually interested. To which she starts seeking out advice on foreplay, basically. Even though no foreplay is actually committed in the show. Let's just say hilarity ensues. There's so many references. I swear to God, at one point, I saw the Playboy Bunny logo in the first episode.
Oh my god, I'm sure it was there.
It was on Akiho's pen, but I thought you gotta go back and watch to see that, but hey. I will say, I feel for you, Haruka, because Haruka is pretty much me. No offense, Haruka is pretty much me whenever I hang out with y'all. It's like, everybody's always making sex jokes and stuff. I'm just here with a straight face, like, But playing these two, Haruka is played by Gareth West. Mr. West is in the building. And Akiho is played by Caitlin Barr. Gareth West, you've also heard as Takashi Yoshizawa in After the Rain. Akihiro Tsukuba and Chihara Furu, seasons 2 and 3. 2D Golden Time, Itetsu Takada and Haikyuu. And Tomoaki Yamagishi and Omaidens in your Savage season. Caitlin Barr, you've heard as Mai Wataya and Chihara Furu. Nikki Honda and Dr. Stone, The Stone Wars. Rhythm in the Dungeon of Black Company, when Soma and Fruits Basket the final, and La Puchelle in Magical Girl Racing Project.
Yay.
Yes, because if you ever want to be confused by a boy or a girl, why not go with La Puchelle?
Oh my gosh.
I love that character.
I do too. That was such a good character. That was a great performance too.
What's funny is I'm reading the origins manga for these characters because I really need some backstory because as Megan would say, Battle Royales, they don't really develop their characters well. And the light novel for the origins is just, it is something, let me tell you.
I'm holding out for another season of the anime, so I'm trying not to read any of the stuff, but I think I bought the first couple of them.
All I can tell you is it literally fills in the gaps with the episodes. It even tells you what episode it comes before and after the animated, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, so, yeah, we'll get off topic here, but, what are your thoughts on these two?
Well, Gareth has my favorite line in the entire show, which we just kind of talked about when Shizuku handcuffed herself to herself and then quote unquote lost the key, and she's like writhing around and like the keys in her back pocket, and she's like, oh, like, can't you just get it? Oh, stop it, what are you doing? And he's like, God, enough. And I was like, that's how I felt about this entire show. He is the best line. The fucking best line. I was like, I really hope that was improvised. It probably wasn't, but damn, was it fucking good.
Yeah.
First of all, Gareth is such a nice guy. Like, I met him a few years ago. Oh my God. Is he the nicest guy in the world or what? Like, if you've ever met him at a con or if you ever see him at a con, go meet him because he is extremely nice. This role was so awkward though. Like, I felt so bad for him because, like, Haruka is torn between, like, horror and all the stuff that his girlfriend is saying when he just wants to, like, hold her hand and give her head pats, and she's, like, talking about BDSM and all this other kind of bullshit. Then there's, like, the shocked parts that he has to pull off, but he also has to try and play the straight man at the same time. But there are some times when I feel like in the tone of his voice that Gareth is obviously in on the joke because he's the actor, but I feel that Haruka at parts is in on the joke, and I'm like, is that for real? Like, is that good? I don't know how I feel about this. I feel that he tries so hard with this role, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But Haruka is such a disaster that it doesn't really matter either way. Like, he is a wreck. Like, this poor boy, like, according to him, all he wants to do is be innocent and sweet and have a nice girlfriend. But then, like, 40 seconds later, he's, like, staring at some girl's butt. And I'm like, okay, dude. You know, holla at your boy. Whatever. And then Caitlin is Akiho. Man. This role also felt very weird for me because I could tell, like, the tropey style of, like, the Japanese voice actress, like what it would be, like, just the breathy, the quiet, the low voice, the very dry kind of thing. But that style in English dialogue, it doesn't always work very well. Like, a lot of times it comes off stilted, or it comes off like you may think that the English voice actor can't act very well, but they're really just trying to, like, kind of pitch match to the Japanese dialogue. But here I didn't feel like that happened with Caitlin. I thought Akiho was hysterical. And in the beginning, I felt there was kind of that cold tone that was very soft that she was pulling out for Akiho. But once we kind of got to know the character, I felt like she almost got to know the character a little bit more as well, because it kind of turned into, like, hey, Akiho's allowed to be funny, and she's allowed to be like horny, and she's allowed to be a Shobitch, and she's here for it. She really doesn't make any apologies for who she is or how she was raised, because we find out that she is the way she is because of her mom being thirsty all the time. I really liked Caitlin's performance here. I really loved it. I felt like Akiho still had a tiny bit of innocence like bottled up in her, and when Haruka pulled it out, it was really sweet and really cute. But she still
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. You said when Haruka pulled it out.
God damn it. I didn't even mean for that one. I've been watching this shit for too long, ladies and gentlemen. But
I'm sorry.
No, that was good. I'm glad that you pointed it out because I flew right over my fucking head. But yeah, she was still a tiny bit innocent while she was being a show bitch or whatever. And I was like, good for her. Good for Akiho. Caitlin like really kind of nailed this. And I'm super happy for her because I know her voice from other roles that aren't like this character type at all, like where she still has to have like the cutesy factor. So I was very pleased with this. Like she did a bang up job there. I got that one.
Yeah. So yeah, basically start off with I kind of like when the MC's self-worth what's going on, because you know a lot of times you see these kind of shows and the main character has really no idea what's going on, or he's playing coy. It kind of frustrates me a little bit. So when I see Haruka, he's a little bit of breath of fresh air. And like I said, he's also basically me whenever y'all do like sex jokes and stuff. Because the thing about it is, I remember I used to have a roommate in college. So sometimes with him, you could not go saying 3 words without him going, "That's what she said." I'm like, how the hell you come up with these jokes?
I'd be like, why are you using the same joke?
Yeah, basically, but yeah. So I feel Haruka's pain, but Gareth does a pretty good job. I mean, his voice is very guttural and not what you would hear for a main character like Haruka.
Right.
And he's a very nice guy. He's also a very funny guy too, because I remember when they did the promotion for this show, Mr. West ended up doing essentially an ASMR unboxing of this.
Did he really?
Yes, because I remember I played the video one time in my car over Bluetooth, and boy, did that drive to work feel awkward. Yeah, he's a very good dude, very good actor. And I really like to see more of his stuff, because I still remember Old Maiden. I haven't seen Golden Time because the way people talk about it, it's gonna take me a while before I get to Golden Time, to be honest.
I knew him from Haikyuu, so that's where I knew him from.
Yeah. But he does a very good job playing the straight-laced boyfriend who's always end up getting in the center of trouble. Now, Caitlin Barr. Caitlin Barr, her range is very fantastic. To the point, there have been occasions where I've confused her with Caitlin Glass. So when I made that comment about her playing her mother, I said I can't wait to hear her use her Caitlin Glass voice, because, you know, she can sound more adult when she needs to. Yeah. Yeah, she has very good range. She also has a very good sense of humor, too, because I know we've had conversations back and forth on Twitter over the show. I remember at one point I said, see you next Tuesday, and she made me realize I accidentally made an acronym for cunt. And there were plenty of times where she talks about like being broken during recording her scenes. It was mostly what was it? It was mostly partly when she recorded played off of Gareth, but the one scene that broke her was when Seiya showed off her bod to Kosuke. That same exact line. Fuck, I forgot it again. Fuck.
The luscious line.
The luscious line. I can't hold back all this lusciousness or something like that. If you're listening to this on the Patreon, you'll know exactly what line it is. I can't play it for copyright. So yeah, she has very good sense of humor, very great voice. I love the work she's doing, especially even now, because I'm listening to her in Dungeon Black Company, and she's pulled out a voice either I've never heard before, I don't hear often, because she's playing a very little girl who's also a dragon. Yeah. Show's not for everybody, but I'm enjoying her so far. But yeah, and the fact that, these two are playing a couple, the banter is not what you expect, but except for this kind of show, they do a very good job with working with what they've got, especially when Caitlyn has to go the distance, making, of course, even more sexual innuendo.
See, she had a banana scene, and I was like, okay, like, this is definitely not as bad as the Girls Bravo banana scene. So, bravo.
I like that scene, though, because before that, you hear Misaki talk to her. She says, "What would you like?" And Kosuke says, "I'll have a double scoop." And it just zooms in on her breast.
But then she's also like, oh, finally someone normal.
Yeah. There's also a scene early on in the show where she sends Haruka a pic of herself, and it's just covered in, God, I hope that's frosting. It literally looked like something out of a visual novel, though.
How lovely. What a mess. What a mess.
Not as messy as her cooking. Oh my god.
Yikes. That was cringe.
Kyubey, get the fuck out of here. But that having been said, it's really hard to pick a standout, but I think, I'd have to give props to Caitlyn for having the straightest face she possibly could during this entire show.
Yeah, that's gotta be hard. Like, to say all those raunchy lines and have to basically play the straight man again. So, good for her.
Yeah, but so that having been said, let's go to final thoughts here. So,
are we going to the climax? The climax of our episode?
Oh, it's coming.
Well, I'll start ramping it up then for us. To be fair, folks, I gave this show a 3.5 out of 10. I really didn't like it, but it did have I really didn't like 80% of it. I liked 20% of it, which was more than I liked Nakaimo. So if we're comparing it to that, Nakaimo is way worse than this show. And I will tell you what saved this show, and it was the dub. So good job to everybody involved. I don't think I could have gone through more than half an episode of this subtitled. I wouldn't have been able to, because I like my fan servicey shows that have some kind of plot and something that makes it funny. And while the first episode was very funny, the second episode was slightly less funny. The same jokes kept getting used over and over again. But the dub saved it from being a totally unwatchable show. So for that, I'm very grateful. And everybody did a good job. And I was happy that the actors that I wanted to hear in lead roles, I got to hear them. And they were very good. And it made me very happy. And Damon Mills fucking stole the show again, because he's a fucking wizard. And that's my thoughts on My Girlfriend is a Shobitch. And I still don't know what a Shobitch is, but I'll find out one day.
Slutty bitch, more or less. Today's the day, though. Alright, so basically, as I've stated before in other episodes, the reason I was sold on the show was because of the cast. Because otherwise, I wanted to watch this if it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
This is, well, I would say it's my cup of tea. I mean, I've watched much pervier shows that managed to knock it out of the park, if you will, with their jokes. I am so sorry saying that baseball must have hurt. I mean, it's telling because I don't watch a lot of Sentai dubs, and yeah, I would usually watch these types of shows I do without a good dub, which is why nobody can shame me, but I started watching the Mother Goddess's Dormitory, the dubcast for it. Which is very hilarious and very interesting, especially with Brittany Karbowski. But for the love of God, Sentai, why did you not warn me it was uncensored?
Oh no. See, yeah, I don't watch a lot of these shows. Like, I bought To Love Ru, but I'll tell you the reason that I bought To Love Ru is because David Wald directed it, and that was the only reason.
I've yet to finish that. Okay. Anyway. But everybody did a very good job. Like, I guess there's a saying for this, like, the dub is better than what the show deserved. But even with the show, you know, because it got Amazon. Because I will say, because the person who sings the OP for this, Aoi Yūki, is Kosuka in the Japanese. And if they had played it something straight like that, I probably wouldn't have watched it at all. Because Aoi Yuki's a good seiyuu, but I had a hard time with her in Saga of Tanya the Evil, let me tell you. But that's not the point here. The point is, you know, a good dub can only make a bad show watchable if you do well hard enough, you know? Like, you really gotta thrust right into it. Take a stab, basically.
Fuck.
You got that, didn't you?
Yeah, I got that right in the kisser.
Pow! Right in the kiss. Yeah, we've been dragging this on too long. I think it's time for the big finish here. Don't you agree?
I'm ready. I'm ready to bring it to a close.
Wait. Ah! And boom goes to dynamite.
Thanks. I'll just roll over and die now.
I'm sorry. I've been able to keep it up for this long, but we gotta stop right here.
It's
you know?
fine. I'm glad that you finally got the release that you needed. I mean, the relief.
Speaking of releases, if you want to see this show for yourself, it's available streaming on High Dive. Both sub and dub for $5 a month, $48 a year. Trust me, take the yearly option. It's much cheaper in the long run. If you want to own the show for yourself, it is available on Blu-ray wherever you buy your anime. I will tell you this right now. The Blu-ray is the only way you can get both the OVA and the commentary, as the OVA is uncensored and not suitable for streaming. Also, the commentary is pretty neat too. I think this was one of the selling points for me on this show. As for us and what we get up to, we can be found on the Dub Talk Podcast on YouTube at Dub Talk Podcast, on Twitter at Dub Talk Podcast, at Twitch on Dub Talk Podcast. Anywhere else is all accounts probably just dead and we're not using it. I mean, for God's sakes, you're not gonna find us on Tumblr or Instagram anymore, because even for the show as watching as this, why would we post that out there? So, go ahead. How do I say this nicely without sounding dirty? Fuck it. Go ahead and plug yourself, Gigi.
Alright, fine. My name is Gigi. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at Animepalooza, where I talk about Camus from Udapri Shining Live and how I want him to step on me. Take that as you will, whatever. I post videos twice a week on my channel, and come hang out with me and we will weeb out together, and you'll be able to see more of my reactions to this show when I watched it in my weekly weeb vlog. So that's happening on my neck of the woods. What about yours?
It can be found on Twitter, Japstar529, on YouTube at Japstar1. I do plan to start a solo podcast at some point, which finally started to pick up some progress now. But there'll be more details on that soon. I'm an assistant editor for this podcast, and show this podcast your love and support, to which, if you want to support us, we have both a Ko-fi and a Patreon, to which, with our Patreons and our $5 tier, we have Megan's mom and dad. I'm so sorry you're listening to this episode, probably. Michelle Travis, Mac Discord Zone, Nico Robin, both Yowie Head, Sue Tweed, and Victor Bay Moroda. Now, $10 tier, we have Carly Leistercow, Crimson Kinder, Jacob Wilson, Jared Hawkins, Julia W., Marissa Lenti, Millicent Sowerby, and Otaku Anthony. Thank you all, such wonderful people.
Thank you.
I promise we'll clean up our act after this filth, but actually the filth was not that bad. It's better than watching American Pie 2.
I mean, we were able to control ourselves pretty well. I can't say the same about the show, but at least we tried.
Yeah, like I said, we kept it up for so long, so
it's time for it to slowly shrink down into nothingness.
Yeah. So any final words before we head out?
I'm all punned out, yo. I'm all punned out.
Yeah, pretty much. Watch us for Tired to a Love Hotel or something.
I mean, you can choose from a menu and make all your fantasies come true. That's what YouTube has taught me. Great. We'll make it work. We'll make it work, fam.
I'll apologize to Chris later.
He's right in the next room. Do you want me to go grab him?
Yeah, if you want.
On that note, fam, we better stop recording before I get in trouble.
Yeah, this episode's already too hot. So,
all right.
From all of us to you and here at Dub Talk, good night, Otaku on, and keep it up.
Love your faces.
Keep it up all that long.